And while we're on the topic of Oregon lawmakers, here's an interesting connection between some in Salem and the Trump administration's new Department of Government Efficiency, or Doge, which will be led by the wealthiest man in the world, Elon Musk. And oddly enough, it's all about owls. A bipartisan group of Oregon lawmakers are calling on Doge to cancel a federal plan to kill hundreds of thousands of barred owls. The feds want to help the native spotted owl population in the West. Barred owls are considered invasive here on the West Coast and are larger and more aggressive and territorial. So they basically bully their way into prime spotted owl territory, adding to the threat, officials say. The barred owl's more general diet not only negatively impacts spotted owls, but other native species along the West Coast. So the U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife made an extensive plan to tame the barred owl population. We've talked about this before here on The Story. The full document is over 300 pages long, but it boils down to simply shooting them. Roughly 450,000 barred owls over 30 years. Now, according to the plan, the department conducted studies that show in areas where barred owls are not killed, the spotted owl population declines 12% each year on average. In areas where barred owls are killed, the spotted owl population declines 0.2% a year on average. But this group of Oregon lawmakers, 3 Republicans and 1 Democrat, say the plan to kill thousands of barred owls should be thrown out on the basis of cost. So this is all about money, not the lives of owls. In a letter to Doge, Representatives Ed Deal, David Gomberg, Virgil Osborne, and Senator Bruce Starr cite a nonprofit's estimation that the federal plan will cost around $1.35 billion over the next 3 decades, around $45 million a year.
I think it's a complete waste of our taxpayer dollars. We have two species. They're in the same environment. One is thriving, one isn't thriving. I don't see the point for us, and they're very similar. I don't see the point in us spending over $1 billion in an attempt to save this animal. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That spotted owl was used as the reason, as the excuse to shut down logging in Oregon and lock out millions of acres of forest land across the Pacific Northwest. That took jobs away. It took revenue away from our schools and public safety. This has been a huge hit, and this started in the 90s, late 80s, and 30 years of that go by, and the spotted owl is still in decline. We have not helped the population. So we did this all in vain. And so now we're going to say, well, I guess that didn't work. So we're going to spend $1 billion of your tax money to kill another owl, to hire hunters, to kill 450,000 owls in another attempt to save the spotted owl. And I just really wonder if we should just let nature take its course here.
The group also argues the barred owls are a protected species under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, which protects birds that travel to new areas to populate. On top of that, lawmakers argue the barred owls will simply come back and repopulate after the bulk of the killing is over.
We see an opportunity with the new administration and this emphasis on government efficiency that, is this really an efficient use of taxpayer dollars? I think also the bigger picture for this, though, is this is being driven in large part by the Endangered Species Act. And I believe in this case it's highlighting the really absurd direction that law takes us, where we're being driven to kill one owl to save another. And does that really make sense? And I really think it's time to look at the Endangered Species Act, and I would say modernize it, to really balance things out a little bit more so we're not making these kinds of, in my view, silly decisions.
Representative Deal's office says Doge has not yet responded to their request. As far as what Doge could do to stop the plan, That may depend. Late yesterday, President Trump signed an executive order officially creating Doge. In that order, he said the group's goal was to, quote, modernize federal technology and software, making it sound like a glorified IT department. The executive order outlines that each federal department will have to create a Doge team consisting of 4 employees. The team would then consult with the main Doge entity and advise the federal agency they're a part of on where cuts can be made in line with Trump's efficiency agenda. Within minutes of the group's creation, though, several organizations and watchdog groups filed lawsuits against Doge for various reasons, most notably challenging its uncertain legal status. Comparisons are being drawn between Doge and a group of private sector consultants put together by former President Ronald Reagan for more or less the same end goal. That group ended up delivering their report nearly a year and a half late, and most of what it recommended never happened. Doge is only expected to exist for the next 18 months, according to the executive order. There is a termination date of July 4th, 2026, but until the Department of Government Efficiency is working in full force, we'll just have to sit tight and see if or how they respond to our local lawmakers' request.
I look at the state of Oregon. I look at where we need money used for mental health, we've got a homeless situation, substance use. We've got all these issues going on. Is this the best way to use hard-earned taxpayer dollars? And I would argue that it's not. There's other things we should be doing with that money.
All right, so your turn. What do you think? Should Doge step in and let the barred owls remain, or too bad, so sad for the spotted owl? Or should the current plan stay to try and help spotted owls? Email us at thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail 503-226-5090.